Good morning, Rue. It's Saturday. Yesterday was the 75th anniversary of VE Day, the day Allied powers declared victory in Europe during the Second World War. Tomorrow, the UK is expecting Boris Johnson to relax the rules of lockdown, claiming that the UK has passed the peak of COVID-19 cases. The parallels between the two events are clear to see, at least to me. Our parents, grandparents and great-grandparents who lived through World War II have been an inspiration to the UK public during this time. Collectively, we've drawn strength from their example. Their stories, even during this time of peace, have become more relatable now than they have been for decades. Many of us have experienced the spirit of the blitz manifested in our homes the past weeks. We've come together online and over the phone to talk and laugh and remind ourselves that we are not just surviving, but we've also experienced a part of the fear our relatives lived with every day during the war. You might have felt it yourself in one of those moments of anxiety where your virtual pub quiz stopped being a fun community event. Suddenly, the Zoom screen was less of a window to your friends and family. Instead, it felt like a bare flame, a candle in the blackout, your only source of light and warmth that you huddle around to gain some sliver of comfort, while outside, a very real, yet somehow very unknowable threat to our lives hangs over the entire globe. Which brings me to the footage you're seeing in this video. During the lockdown, images like these of empty streets, closed restaurants and vacant car parks have been used to portray how much we've lost to COVID-19. Looking like a scene from 28 Days Later, they remind us that the things we loved and relied on aren't all there. These images can make us feel small and alone and vulnerable. But I'd like to suggest we use another example from the Second World War to challenge how we feel about the empty roads and closed businesses. In the war, during an air raid, every light was extinguished and blackout curtains were drawn to protect entire cities. I can only imagine how frightening it was to plunge yourself into complete darkness, to sacrifice your sight, a sense that can be vital to your survival, and spend the night listening to sirens and explosions and the roar of enemy bombers overhead. But it was a sacrifice everyone made, so that everyone could survive. They gave up something that would comfort them and could make them feel safe, because they cared about the safety of everyone else. That same care is what I see when I look at an empty car park. When my friends have to celebrate their birthdays at home alone, when we all spend our bank holiday weekend indoors instead of driving to the beach or visiting relatives. None of these are things we've lost to COVID-19. They are what we have willingly sacrificed. Even though they make us feel normal and like everything is going to be all right, we gave them up to protect the lives of strangers. That is what I'm going to remember of COVID-19. That we are not as selfish as I like to believe. Just like in the Second World War, the COVID-19 pandemic has made heroes of all of us. Some of us are taking more risks than others, and we applaud them and thank them and owe them so much. But heroism is a nuanced thing. Not only can a hero be a nurse still providing care to the vulnerable, or people like my brother, still leaving the house to do their day jobs so they can keep everyone else running, but it can also be the children who are staring out their windows, wanting nothing more than to kick a ball around with their friends, but they stay inside. It can even be people like you and me who would give anything for a pint in a beer garden right now, but instead will settle for a tinny in the kitchen. Whatever Boris Johnson announces tomorrow, just remember, you're a good person and you're doing a good job. Rue, I'll see you on Sunday.